Yeah, welcome to the show. Mrs. E15 with your host, Zach Keas and the Fifth General. What's going on?
Hey, what's good? Good to be here. Yo, tuning in. God bless, man. God bless
Thanks,
Thanks for tuning in, yo.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. Such an important topic today.
Yes.
I'm
yes.
sure y'all know us. Y'all know how we get down. You know, doggone well we was gonna talk about this. First, I want to say rest in peace to Tyre Nichols.
Yes. Rest in peace to Tyre Nichols. Yes. And condolences to his family for sure. Yeah, man. I feel for that little boy, man. Yeah. 4 years old, man.
So listen, I don't care what rumors they got out there. They always do this when somebody black gets killed by the police or harmed very badly. I'm about tired of this. I don't care what the rumors say. You don't deserve for 5 cops to take turns beating on you, like taking turns.
Right.
While you're handcuffed. I couldn't even watch the whole footage. The footage is long as heck.
Yeah, they beat him. I think that the whole thing was just a straight up murder. Why would you beat somebody while in custody, handcuffed in custody? Oh man.
So
it was like they were just plotting.
Memphis has a problem. So they pulled him over because they felt like he was driving recklessly. Right? He was a block from his house when he got pulled over.
Yeah.
So he was going home. When the police had a traffic stop, they pull him over. You know, they say Tyre tried to get away. And I think what it was is that they were saying that, you know, he said that he was calling for his mother screaming so that she could come down the block.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And be a witness, you know? No priors that I know of. Do you know if there's no priors? There's no record. Okay?
No record, no.
Right, no record.
Sad, man. Yeah.
You know, they claim the whole resistant arrest and stuff like that. I get it, fine. He was running. But you know, he was running because he felt like his life was in danger.
Is in danger, yeah.
So
yes.
This is what I want to say. Okay? This is what I want to say. Because he died 3 days later after in the hospital. It turns out that all those cops got fired. Charges are brought on them. They're not in jail, but they are what you call in a house arrest kind of situation. Not at their own house.
Okay, gotcha.
Not at their own house.
Yeah.
In a undisclosed location.
Okay.
But they've been fired. Okay.
Okay.
Charges have been brought on them quick. I'll explain my theory why I think they were brought on them so quick. They were part of what you call the Scorpion Unit. That stands for something. I'll see if I can get the information. Scorpion is an acronym.
Yeah.
So he was beat down. Like I said, they took kicks, punches, everything.
Yeah.
Held him up so
until they killed him.
And no aid was administered to him. It turns out that 2 EMTs and a firefighter had gotten fired as well because
fired.
The video showed that they weren't that they weren't administering aid. What's going to happen is people need to know why they weren't doing it. The question is, did the police try to interfere and them administering aid to this young man? If that's the case, then those people, although they got fired, have a case to contend. They could contend it because they could say, hey, we were told not to, or they were in our way. And the reason why I say it is because if you remember in the George Floyd situation, there was somebody trying to help, but the officer was on some back away stuff.
Right.
You know, and by then Floyd was already dead.
Yes.
So you have situations where, and it happened with Eric Garner. Here you have an EMT trying to do their job, and a punk behind cop says, "Not yet."
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if that was a situation with this story, but I do know that this has happened in the past.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay? So I'm gonna name the people, then I'm gonna give the mic to my brother here. The five officers who were involved: Tadarius Bean, Demetrius Haley, Emmett Martin III, Desmond Mills Jr., and Justin Smith. The officers were charged on second-degree murder and kidnapping, among other charges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, when I heard this case, I was saying to myself that these officers that pulled him over had him in custody, and they continually beat him to death. Why they had him in custody? Okay, first of all, they got mad because he ran, but still doesn't mean that he had to lead the cause to his death. You know, that doesn't mean that he had to die.
I'm with you. Go ahead.
And the thing is this, man. Most these black officers, I feel, and I said it in a video I made one time. I said that they should be ashamed of themselves, beating on the poor black guy that's handcuffed. They should be ashamed of themselves, ashamed.
Yeah.
To even go home to go home to their own family, be ashamed. Wife asking them, "What did you do? What? Why did you beat? Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why?" I mean, I've been hearing a lot of stuff. I've been hearing that it was a I don't know what kind of connects he had and how they just pinpoint him and they just beat him like that. What's the sense of why? And the thing is that sometimes I feel that sometimes we're our worst enemy. Sometimes we look at other young black folks and next thing you know, you treat them as such because we have such dislike for ourselves. So we treat our own as such.
So I'm going to challenge that, but go ahead.
Yeah, and the thing is that it's sad because Tyre Nichols had so much things going for him. I think he had little things going for himself. He's a photographer, skateboarder. He had a 4-year-old son. And it's just sad the way how his life at the end. No, I mean, a lot of people was ranting and raving for the past week about how these black cops beat this black man like that and how that happened and so forth. You hear police brutality is police brutality. Police brutality is police brutality, and I've been hearing. To me, yes, okay. You know, I've discussed this with some people and some dudes are saying, "Yo, man, those are a disgrace to their race." Okay, yeah, because the black man, the young guy, didn't have to die like that. It was brutal. If you look at the video, I can't even look at the video too long because it was just brutal. It's just a video that you don't even want to like revisit and look again. That's how this video was bad, man. And I just feel that now the question is, they're a disgrace to the community, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even with Tyre Nichols' little son, 4-year-old boy that's waiting for him to come home. I think about that, like, how you tell your 4-year-old son that your dad is not coming? How? And I'm sure these officers had brothers and sisters too. I'm sure they did. They had brothers and sisters too. How would you feel? How would you feel if that's done to your brother and sister? How would you feel knowing that your brother and sister not coming home to their family or not coming home to you? How would you feel? And that's the question I have for those 5 officers. That's the question I have for them. What possessed you? Was Tyre Nichols? The question is, was Tyre Nichols targeted? Why him? Why kill him? Was he targeted? Because many times, a lot of people get pulled over. Some people get pulled over by a car stop and they still live to see it. I was pulled over many times, and I lived. Was Tyre Nichols, the way how they beat him, like it was something personal? Was he targeted? And for what reason? Was he supposed to be there? Because sometimes you have to question the reasoning and the rationale of certain things. Like, you mean you run away? You caught him, you caught him in handcuffs, you beat him, and then you beat him to death, although he was in handcuffs? Something is not adding up. Why take his life? Because why? Why? Was he targeted for something political? What was the reason for it? What was the reason behind it? A lot of questions. And it's sad that sometimes, and they say it sometimes too, and 50, you hear it too sometimes. We gotta love each other better, man. I mean, as far as our folks go, man, it's crazy to see that, to even think about that. Sure.
So, I want to play something from the Memphis police chief. Let's see if y'all.
I expect you to feel outrage in the disregard of
Here we go.
basic human rights, as our police officers have taken an oath to do the opposite of what transpired on the video. I expect our citizens to exercise their First Amendment right to protest, to demand action and results. But we need to ensure our community is safe in this process. None of this is a calling card for inciting violence or destruction on our community or against our citizens. In our hurt, in our outrage and frustration, there is still work to be done to build each other up, to continue the momentum of improving our police and community relationships and partnerships, to show those who watch us now that this behavior is not what will define our community and our great city. This is not a reflection of the good work that I expect you to feel what the Nichols family feels. I expect you to feel outrage in the disregard of basic human rights, as our police officers have taken an oath to do the opposite of what transpired on the video.
As our officers took an oath to do the opposite that transpired on the video. So that's Sherilyn Davis. I think it's Charlene or Cheryl. I don't know how you say it. I'll just say Charlene Davis, Memphis police chief. That was her statement following the video evidence of what happened to Tyre Nichols. So I'm going to say this. You said earlier, when you responded, you said sometimes we could be our own worst enemy, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
So let me get into that. That said a lot. Anytime you have a situation where there's a crime done within the community, I don't agree with saying we are our own worst enemy, because our own worst enemy are the ones who took our last names, took us away from our family, put us in chattel slavery for over 400 years, and slavery was abolished in the 1860s in this country.
1865, yeah.
And then after that, that same enemy decided to still lynch you and beat you and never have a crime done to you. They did that for another 100 plus years after slavery that went on for 400 years. That same worst enemy empowered these 5 officers to beat this kid. I'll explain how they empowered them. They empowered these officers, yes, who are black, in a mostly black city like Memphis, to beat this kid, young man rather, in a hospital till he died, because our own worst enemy in the police force has over 100 plus years since the institution of police of doing the same thing and getting away with it mostly. Because that same enemy, and that enemy I'm talking about is white supremacy for those who don't know what I'm saying. That same enemy still exists to this day. That same mentality, system, principle, and spirit that existed way before our time and before our grandparents' time, for over 4 to 5 centuries, probably longer, but just of what we know. That same thing still exists, and yes, that same system can empower anybody to commit such acts, whether they look like this wall behind me that's white or this skin right here that is black. That's our worst enemy. Not we as in me and you. We are not our worst enemy as in me and you, Zacchaeus. You know that. That's what I mean. But what I'm saying is white supremacy has done so good with oppressing us that we're able to actually repeat that phrase that we're our own worst enemy. It's the same concept of Satan. Greatest trick in the world is to make people believe that he doesn't exist, meanwhile running amok. White supremacy has that same motto. We exist, but we're going to act like we don't, so that you don't know who to fight. One of the worst things you could do is be in a war with an enemy that you can't see. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
Okay, I'm almost done. So, but here's the difference. When we see white cops do it, and now these black cops. Typically, when white cops commit police brutality on black citizens, they don't have charges brought on them this fast.
No,
they don't.
That's a fact.
They don't get thrown off the force this fast.
That's right.
They don't They don't get negative media this fast.
That's right.
But these black officers did.
Yes.
And I want black people to be very critical, and I want you to use your third eye. Yes, we hold these police accountable because in the black community, we should handle our own. That's what Memphis is doing. We handle our own. But black people, watch the media very carefully. They will make black officers the new face of police brutality so that we could fear each other. And so that they can say, you know what? You were complaining about us, but you're no better with them either.
Right.
That's what the media will try to do. I want to say that there were good black officers out there. I'm going to find a video with these black officers who speak out against police brutality. They exist. Those are the ones that we should rock with.
That's right.
Not these 5 officers from Memphis.
These 5 officers from Memphis are trying to get
No, go ahead, Zach Hughes. I'm gonna look up this video.
Yeah, these 5 officers from Memphis, I believe, was trying to get validation. They were trying to show off and get validation. I believe that the validation aspect of it was trying to show their superiors that, listen, we can handle that. We can handle our business. And look, we got this thug right here, and look, we got him in custody. So we're trying to, and because of white supremacy, we a lot of us tried to impress, because like it was mentioned, like you said earlier, we came shackled in chains. We don't know. The only thing we have superficial is our skin color. Anything else, we don't have. We lost our name. We lost our identity. We lost our language. We lost our language. We lost our. A lot of us are lost in this North American wilderness.
Yeah.
And this Babylon system, a lot of us are lost.
Yeah. I just wanted to remind people who our actual worst enemy actually is. And I'm not saying white people.
Yeah.
I'm saying the system of racism that was created by such other people that exist still to this day, that passes mentality down, that employs all people to do the works of their agenda. And that's all I was trying to say. Go ahead.
Do you agree when some of our black folks say that's black on black crime? And not only that's black on black crime, I don't feel comfortable around my people. I gotta go to that.
Black on black crime was a term that came around the black exploitation era. And that's not a term that we coined.
Right.
The reason why that was brought up, because once upon a time, during segregation, this is according to my research, crime was low between us. Did you hear what I said?
Crime was low between us. Yes.
Crime was low between the so-called black community. Well, at that time they were a black community, because at that time black people it was segregation, right? So we had no choice but to do business with our own.
And this is during the time of 1920. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm
about to say this is during the time of the late
1800s to early 1920s and 30s. Yeah.
Yes.
So because do you know that crime was let me tell you something. Crime was very low, poverty was very low, and marriage was very high in Black Wall Street.
Yes.
I want to let people know that once upon a time, white people at that time actually did leave us alone. What happened is their system collapsed. So they came after our system.
Yes.
This is why Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma got bombed. Because around that time, the Great Depression, healthy, quote unquote, healthy white men were jumping off buildings. And I also want to remind people that our worst enemy thought all the profits from Wall Street, the whole Wall Street stock system started from slavery, and slaves were on that.
Yeah, see?
So we get to a point where we're not slaves anymore by law, at least not walking around in prison, yes, right?
Yes.
And their system was failing, as it should. You don't get to thrive on our pain and think that the devil is not going to come back to collect. White supremacy sold their soul to the devil because it comes from the devil, right? Let's make sure we don't forget that. We do know. White supremacy is a demonic system,
a demonic entity.
And the thing about the God that they serve, because that's their God, their master, you make a deal with him. That deal is, I'll let you thrive, but I'm coming for your soul.
Right.
So this is why the Great Depression happened. This is why wars still happen.
Yes.
Because they make deals with Satan. Okay? Now, this is not about spookism. Right? Because some people are going to hear this and say, Jermaine, Fifth, come on, man, stop it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, look, I'm going to play a video and I'm going to give you the mic. This is a video of black officers in New York saying what it is that they were told to do. This is an old video, but it speaks to what we're talking about.
They tell you this to your face. Black Hispanics between 14 to 21. They must get stopped.
At the end of the month, these officers, whoever don't have that arrest or those few summonses, they're pressured to find something. You might not see nothing. You're supposed to be visible. You might not see anything, but you go hunting, like bounty hunting for an arrest, locking up some old guy, some homeless guy, finding somebody who's riding a bicycle on the sidewalk, who's spitting, and you bring him in.
The problem is when you go hunting, when you put any type of numbers on a police officer to perform, we are going to go to the most vulnerable.
The most vulnerable.
Of course, we're going to go to LGBT community. We're going to go to the black community. We're going to go to those people that have no vote, that have no power. If we start doing what we're doing in Midtown Manhattan, a phone call to the mayor's office is going to be made. That's going to be the end of it.
We're the predators, they're the prey. The worst thing you can have is a police officer that needs an arrest for the month.
So you're all minorities. How does that make you feel?
It's horrible.
This is something coming from the top that trickles its way down, and this is why we're all here today.
They tell you this to your face. Black Hispanic.
Zacchaeus?
Yes.
Go ahead.
That audio right there just says it all. They go to the weaker link, which is the LGBT community and the black community. They go and they go after people that have no power, people that have no leg to stand on. If you report a cop, sometimes it's dust underneath the rug. Oh, he threw me against the wall and handcuffed me. Look, I have bruises. You could get an attorney. But let's see how well that goes. Let's see if this officer gets put on desk duty. Most likely not. But if you go to the other folks community, not the LGBT, not the other folks community, those cops, officers know who has the power. They know that the Illuminati got the power. I know. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Illuminati, white supremacy, same thing. But anyway, anyway, they know who has the power. So therefore, those officers were gonna make sure that they're doing their job. They're gonna cross their eyes and that they're teased in certain communities. But in our community, it's like they're able to abuse their power. And some I can't say all cops. Some cops are able to abuse their power and show off their power and intimidate. First down, intimidate. Like I remember being walking to a friend's house back in 1993, and they emptied my backpack in the middle of the street on a sidewalk because they thought I was carrying a concealed weapon. And I was 14 years old. They grabbed my backpack off my shoulder without saying anything to me, and they zip open the bag and they just empty the whole bag with my books and everything, all because this undercover DD thought I was carrying a concealed weapon. And people just stood around and be like, they can't, what the hell, these guys are something else, man. They're a bunch of jokers. First, yeah, and that's what happened. So, and guess what? When I reported it, nothing happened. Took the badge number and everything. Nothing happened. So, what these officers are talking about is legit. It's all audio, but is the audio that is irrelevant of today. Yes.
Yeah, it's relevant. So I want to say something. That video is possibly maybe 15 years old, and since then the LGBT community has had certain policies put in favor of them to make them a protected class. So they have more. They have more power today than they did in that video when it was created. So I just want to make that factual here. Okay. Black people still know there's still no police brutality bill.
No.
To this day. Okay?
Nope.
No policy. So, KRS-One did a song a long time ago, which speaks to this. Which speaks to how I started this video. It's called Black Cop.
Black Cop, Black Cop, Black
now,
Cop.
Black Cop
yeah.
was a song that was done after whoop whoop is the sound of the police.
The sound of the police.
Overseer. That's what he was trying to say. Let's talk about what an overseer is.
Yeah, we know what an overseer is. Me and you, Fifth. Yeah.
Right. So back in history, back in slave times, there was what you call a person who oversee the operations of slaves picking cotton. Also, if a slave ran away. So they had a person, they called them an overseer. Overseers were always white until when they were beating down the religious part in black people so bad that they would have black slaves, have them be overseers somewhat so they could snitch. That's where the house and the house Negro thing goes back and forth, go hand in hand. Today's overseer, and not only just the officers that KRS-One was talking about in that, but also these black cops themselves can elect themselves or become overseers. Okay? Now, KRS-One said this. Y'all know it. Black cop, black cop, black cop, black cop.
Black cop, black cop.
30 years ago, there were no black cops. You couldn't even drive down the block. Recently, police trained black cop to stand on the corner and take gunshot. This type of warfare isn't new or a shock. It's back on black crime again nonstop. Black cop, black cop, black cop.
Black cop.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For those who don't understand that, when he said 30 years, now this was written in dang, what year was this came out?
Black cop came out what
93. It came out in 93.
93, yeah.
So 93, and KRS-One said 30 years ago there were no black cops. So this is from 93, because I know people were saying, wait a minute, 30 years ago there was, but that's from 93.
1993. So you got to come backwards 30 years ago. What 30 years ago was, and that from 1993, 30 years ago was what, 1972?
I can't do the math right now. But now I'm going to read something else that's very relevant, because this is how he ended the song. He said, your authorization says shoot your own nation. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You want to uphold the law? What could you do to me? The same law dissed the whole black community. You can't play both sides of the fence. 1993, mad kids are getting tense.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Black cop is the only real obstacle. Black slave turned black cop is not logical, but very philosophical. Haven't you heard? It's the black cop killing black kids in Johannesburg. Chris was dropping jewels, man.
Of course, yeah.
I want to go back to this. Your authorization says shoot your own nation. Shoot your nation.
Mm-hmm.
The same law that dissed the whole black community. You can't play both sides of the fence. That's what we're talking about here. That's what's happening. I would play the song, but I don't want YouTube to flag us.
Oh no!
But
yeah.
when you get a chance, I want y'all to go look up Black Cop. Now I know a lot of black people are confused because they're like, "Oh my God, how can black officers do this to black people?" Listen,
right.
I heard a brother once say the worst cop is a black cop, and I'm gonna tell you why he meant that. He meant, how do you join the same system that has oppressed you?
Right. Wow.
Now, the only way, I do believe that we do need black officers to police our community. Okay?
Yes.
I'm not saying we don't, but you need the right ones. But
the right ones, yes.
But the only way to have a healthy police system is to destroy the current police system that you have now and start it over from the ground up. That's the only way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yes. From the ground up, yeah.
I'm gonna ask you a question, man, because you asked me what do I say about, what do I have to say about black people saying, what do I that say, oh, this is black on black crime, da 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 da. It's crime.
Right.
I don't know if I answered the question, but it's crime. It's not black on black crime.
Crime is crime.
Because
right.
Because when you hear stuff about a white person killing a white person, you don't hear the words white on white crime. It's just crime.
No.
You know, there's going to be a lot of distractions. But I'll say one thing about Memphis. Memphis handled this better than anybody else that I know. They actually fired them very quickly.
Right away. Yeah, fired, yeah.
This doesn't usually happen. Usually they get on paid leave. Right? They usually get on paid leave.
Yeah, or paid leave or desk duty.
Yeah.
Or some, yes. But they literally took... Yeah.
But no, step. So here's my question. What do you think is gonna happen for the police system in Memphis going forward? Because I don't think this is gonna do anything for the nation. But what do you think in Memphis going forward could this do? Number one, these officers would have to get convicted for this to work. I'll get to that. Okay, number one, what do you think will happen to the police force? That's the first question. Second question, what do you think will happen to these officers? That's question 2.
I think these officers is gonna. They have I guess they have attorney. They're trying, but I don't see them winning. I highly doubt they're gonna walk. I know most likely no. Because what they did was, in every way, even to some of our non-melanated folks, it's a cruel thing to do. So no, I don't think so.
First question,
I don't think
what do you think is going to happen to the police system in Memphis after this?
Well, first of all, they already lost their jobs. That's a fact. They already lost their jobs. Arrests. Permanent jail time? Yes. Yes.
Zacchaeus.
But
I'm talking about the police department. What do you think is going to happen to the police department?
The police department?
Yeah.
They might just they may change their whole way of strategies or way of doing things. Maybe I'm thinking that, but I don't think much is going to change with the police department itself. I don't think much is going to change.
Yeah.
Unless they get strategies of way how to handle people in our community. I don't think that's going to change.
Okay.
I don't think that's going to. They may say, well, we're going to get some people to psychologically, and I doubt that's going to happen. They're going to spend money to get people to go through the psyche, the police officer psyche in every department to find out what makes them tick and what makes them do what they do. But I think it's just gonna take go afloat. I don't think they're gonna do anything to change the strategy of it.
Yeah, we just realized we had a technical difficulty. The recording stopped at exactly 39 minutes and 55 seconds of the show.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to be able to repeat everything that I said, but I'll just say this with the case. I had asked Zacchaeus, what do you think would happen with the police department going forward? And he made his answer. My answer was, I don't think there'll be any policies in place. There should be policies in place to prevent such a thing. I think they're going to make big examples of these officers because
yes, they will.
I think because they're black and it's against a young black man. It would. I mean, you'll never see black officers beat on a white man like this. But I think what they'll do is they'll send a message to black officers at least, and I think they'll give them a lot of years. And part of my final thought was that I said before the video cut off on us. Part of my final thought, I was saying that if they let these officers walk, that I think the people's response will be to violently protest and burn the city of Memphis down. I'm not asking for that to happen. I'm not asking for that to happen. That's not a threat. I'm just saying. Martin Luther King said the riot is the voice of the unheard. So I believe I believe you have the evidence. So you're not concocting anything. You have the evidence on video. Stuff happens on video and people still get away. Me and you know that. But you have it on video. So with that being said, they would have to be convicted. I mean, you can't. I don't know what else to do here.
Right.
But I think to help that city heal, you have to hold these police officers accountable. And any other situation anywhere else in America.
Yes.
Or in the world. You can't allow this to happen. Otherwise, you keep this going and you keep this system. You empower the system, the racist system that's within the police by not holding these officers accountable. Go ahead, Zacchaeus.
Yeah, like what you said. A lot of it's like this. We as a community, we got to be comfortable. It's got to be a trust, and I think that's what's missing: a trust in the community between the police and the citizens. Young black youths in the community. It's a mistrust, and if we don't have that trust, if we don't feel comfortable around officers, period, and especially officers that look like us, it's like you can't trust them. It's like, no, I'm not trusting a man in a badge.
Yeah,
and it's got to be a trust. If it's not a trust, it's gonna be the same way. Nothing's going to change. It's got to go back to the old school way. And I think that's my solution for conclusion for this. Yeah. It's got to go back to the old school way where the officers can collide. They can not collide, but they can have a camaraderie with the community, and they can bring a like a trust within the community and the police officer, the police department, where the police department, instead of harassing people, can show more platforms as listen. If showing young black men too is listen, or black women, listen, if you want to be a part of the force, there's things in place. You can also go to school with this too, and also we can also give you plans. But they're not doing that, and nobody really wants to become that's not even happening. Nobody really wants to become a. I haven't heard people want to become no cop. I don't hear young people want to become a cop. I used to hear that maybe about 7 years ago, maybe a decade ago, where you hear young people say, "This is all folks. Do I want to become a cop? Yeah, I become a cop." Now it's like it's not even a thought for a lot of us. Why? Because we left the department. Some officers some bad apples, left just a bad taste in a lot of the people in the community's mouth, and it's not even respected. Because so much corruption in the force, so much corruption that it's not even a thing you want to even get into. If you're an honest person, if you're a person that is trying to not harass people and trying to live right before the eyes of God, you're not trying to be a part of any system. So it goes back to this. It's gotta be like a trust in the community. If it's not a trust, then it's gonna be the same old way. Nothing's gonna happen. No change.
I hear you.
So, yeah, man.
All right, man. That's it.
Yeah.
This is episode 15. Episode 15 will be the 100th episode for Mrs. E and 5th series. So tune in for that. Zacchaeus, let the people know where they can reach you, man.
You can reach me on Instagram at Zacchaeus Music on Instagram. Also on Instagram as well. You can meet me at Wayne Backus Gospel. That's right, Wayne Backus Gospel. At Wayne Backus Gospel on Instagram. On Facebook, Wayne Backus 167 on Facebook. Check us out. If you like our content, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you so much. God bless.
All right. Y'all can get at me on at the 5th General on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at the 5th General. All right. This was another episode of Mrs. Z and 5th. Rest in peace to Tyre Nichols, and
rest in peace
and condolences, and God bless to the family.
God bless.
See y'all next time. Pray for Memphis.
Next time.
Peace.
Peace.